What is up, everybody? Matt here, back again with another video for you. Today I'm going to be talking about Queen's A Night at the Opera. This is the fourth album by Queen and is often considered their best, and I kind of have to agree. It has Bohemian Rhapsody on it, so I mean, you really can't not give it that title of the greatest Queen album, especially, yeah. So, it was released on November 21st, 1975, and it was recorded between August and November of that same year. It was released under Elektra by EMI, and it was produced by Thomas Baker. Baker had recorded with The Cars, The Darkness, Journey, and Smashing Pumpkins. Very prolific producer, made a lot of good stuff, but this, obviously, I think is one of his really big masterpieces. At the time of its recording, it was the most expensive album ever made. Wow. The title obviously comes from the Marx Brothers movie of the same name, and the band would actually meet Groucho Marx at one point, and they, for him at his house, would sing an a cappella version of the song 39. Very sweet, very nice. The album was number one in the UK for 4 non-consecutive weeks. The album itself reached number 4 in the United States. The album is all over the place when it comes to its musical styles and influences, and it works. It doesn't feel cluttered, it doesn't feel bloated, it really does flow very nicely into each other. I would almost call this Queen Sgt. Pepper in that respect, not just because it's one of their best albums, but also because it's structured very similarly, where they have just music styles and genres from all over the place to make the album work. Death on Two Legs, the first song on the album, was written about the band's first manager, Norman Sheffield. He would later sue them for defamation or slander. I don't remember which one is which. He sued them for the song. He was like, you can't say that kind of stuff about me. But yeah, I like that song. It's very good. I'm in Love with My Car was written about John Harris, who was one of the roadies who worked for Queen, and his love for his Triumph TR4 car. It's a standout track sung by Roger Taylor. You're My Best Friend is the first Queen track written by John Deacon, and he wrote it about his wife, Veronica. Isn't that nice? So sweet. The song 39 is where things start to get interesting. It's based on Einstein's special theory of relativity, which basically is the one that says if you go into space and you travel through space, that time moves differently than it does on Earth. So theoretically, you could come back to Earth and everybody you know is dead. So yeah, pretty interesting that that's what that song is based off of. I love that song. It's one of my favorite Queen tracks, and it stands out because it's so stripped down. Especially with a band like Queen, which is known for being so powerful. It's cool to hear something that's just an acoustic guitar and a little bit of electric. It's very, very cool. Side 1 is closed out with Seaside Rendezvous, and the tap dance part of that song is actually 2 of the guys with thimbles on their fingers tapping on the mixing board. I just thought that was really cool. I mean, if it works, it works, you know. The song Love of My Life was written about Freddie Mercury's then girlfriend Mary. During live performances, Freddie would conduct the audience, and they would actually sing the song. He would sing parts and they would sing parts. The Wembley '86 version is so incredible. I'm going to include a link to it down below, just because it's such an incredible version. It's heartbreaking in a way, because it's so unbelievably beautiful and cool to see that many people singing that song. It's so cool, so great. The real star of this album, though, is Bohemian Rhapsody. I could do a whole video series on that one particular song. It's so amazing. It's so good. The thing is crammed with classical references, probably my favorite being Scaramouche. Scaramouche is a character in Commedia dell'arte, so being a theater guy, I really dig that. I think that's cool. Like many people, my introduction to it was in the movie Wayne's World, where they're singing in the car. However, I do remember very foggily, but I do remember my parents calling me down one evening when I was probably in elementary school, and they said, you need to check out this music video. And they turned on VH1 or whatever it was, and I just thought it was so cool. I'd never heard anything like that before. And that was my first introduction to Queen, was that song and that video. Very, very cool. It seems to be a more earlier memory than the film, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that, yeah, that was my first encounter with Queen. When I first heard that music, I never thought music could be presented in such a unique way, and so, you know, epic and grand. I had never heard anything like that before. It was really, really cool. I'm pretty sure it's a law in most states that you have to bang your head when the second guitar solo happens, so make sure that you're doing that. Of course, like any good Queen show, it ends with God Save the Queen, and there you go. So very, very cool way to end the album. My particular version that I have really has been to hell and back. This I got in a bargain bin for 50 cents, and when I saw the record itself, I'll go ahead and take it out for you, I thought there is no way this thing's gonna play. It's just completely tore up. I don't know how well you can see that on the video, but it's covered in scratches and dust and stuff. But it plays, and that was good enough for me, and you know, that really made me a digger when it came to the bargain bins. I thought, if I can find this in the bargain bin for 50 cents and it works and it's great and it's fantastic, then you know what, it's worth it, man. I'm gonna keep digging. You know, this is just a fantastic album, and I think it's probably my favorite Queen album. And the story behind it, you should really look into it, because it really is. I've just scratched the surface when it comes to what went into making this album, the stories behind the songs. It is really, really incredible. And, you know, May reflected on this. He said, and I'm going to be quoting here, so sorry, but I need my phone. He said, "We had a kind of almost desperation about us, too, because we were totally bankrupt at that point. You know, we made hit records, but we hadn't had any of the money back. And if the Night at the Opera hadn't been a huge success, I think we would have just disappeared under the ocean someplace. So we were making this album knowing it was live or die. Each of us individually wanted to realize our potential as writers and producers and everything." And that is very evident when you listen to this album. It's a grand Night at the Opera with Queen, and it's great and fantastic. And if you don't own this record, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. Pick up this album. It's amazing, and good luck finding it. Dig through those bargain bins. It might still be out there somewhere. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the album A Night at the Opera. I will see you guys next time.